Guys, we could be in for the perfect storm of inflation in 2022. Hear me out. But before we get going, you know what to do. Smash that like button that helps the algorithm, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to this channel. And just as a reminder, you guys, I do not get paid any money whatsoever for making these YouTube videos. I simply like to make these to help you guys out so you guys know the current conditions of this market. So after you've hit that like button, let's begin. So what do I mean by the possible perfect storm of inflation in 2022? You're probably thinking to yourself, wait, Sam, don't we already have 7% inflation? What do you mean perfect storm of inflation? So I'm talking about not hyperinflation where we're inflating 50% month by month, but I'm talking in the double digits, like 10 to 20% inflation in 2022. Here's how. So we know that the economic conditions in other countries are not healthy whatsoever. And in this video, we're gonna be looking at China's current economic conditions because they're not looking good. So first, let's talk about China's housing market. China's housing market makes up over 25% of their yearly GDP. So what does this mean? This means that if their housing market is not stable, they could have a huge economic collapse due to how big their housing market is involved in the GDP of the country. 25% drop in GDP would be absolutely astronomical. I mean, we're talking like depression, serious economic downturn. This is not small whatsoever. So here's a few examples of some of the biggest home builders in China that are now defaulting on their monthly debt. You see, these Chinese builders, they've borrowed a ton of money in the form of bonds from US investors. And of course, there's huge interest payments that have to be made on those bonds. Well, guess what? These Chinese builders like Evergrande and Country Garden, some of the biggest home builders in the entire world. Guys, these guys aren't just building single family homes, they're building huge apartment complexes. And as you guessed, they're defaulting on these payments. They can't even make the interest payments on these bonds. So they're in major, major trouble. So as you guessed it, the Chinese government is now stepping in. Their Federal Reserve is starting to drop interest rates and start quantitative easing just like America did in 2020 and 2021. But it doesn't stop there. China has been so strict with their COVID restrictions that it's seriously affecting the supply chains in China. And you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, Sam, but I live in America. What does this have to do with me if stuff is going on in China? Guys, have you ever looked at where your stuff is made? Made in China, duh. Guys, even the MacBooks, they're designed in California, but they're assembled and made in China. So if you guys think prices are expensive now with inflation, wait till we have even worse supply chain bottlenecks coming from China. We import billions and billions and billions of dollars every single day of Chinese goods into America. And then imagine even more of a bottleneck that is just gonna drive up prices. And then the next thing that could be brewing in this perfect storm has to do with the current state of the Chinese stock market. Just take a look at Alibaba. It's been hammered over the last 2 years. It's been going straight down off of a cliff. And it doesn't stop there. You can look at any high-flying tech stock in China, and they're all falling off a cliff, just heading straight down. So guys, what I'm saying is it possible that China could start this domino effect that creates crazy inflation in the US and other countries, and every single country could be dealing with some crazy mad inflation. And if that happens, my prediction is the Federal Reserve is going to have to drop interest rates and continue quantitative tightening in order to ease inflation. Now, of course, I don't hold the magic 8 ball and I don't know exactly what's going to happen in 2022, but all I am saying is these are things that we need to watch. Because even though right now the Federal Reserve is only reporting 7%, even though we know it's more like double 14 to 15% actual inflation, if this Chinese perfect storm were to happen, we could see crazy 20 to 30% inflation. So what do you guys think in the comments if a perfect storm were to happen with everything going on in China, how that would affect America's current inflation problem? So now you're asking the question, what do I do to prepare? So in my opinion, I think right now is a good time to save up cash. Typically, I would say get out of cash. Cash is trash because of what the government does to our cash reserves. When they print tons of money, they create inflation, which just inflates away our dollars. But because right now the stock market is dropping, you got the crypto market, and maybe soon the real estate market in America, I would hold off on buying any assets. Now, this isn't financial advice. This is just what I'm doing to prepare because there's just nothing that looks lucrative right now. Everything is just dropping. Why buy the dip when you're going to fall on the knife and it's going to keep dipping? So that's where I think having some cash reserves could be very key for when the real buy the dip opportunity comes and things start shooting back up. So I'll try to keep you guys updated in future videos the best I can with what's going on in the Chinese market and if this perfect storm is brewing even bigger. And that's it for today, you guys. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe button, and I'll be releasing more videos on the economic conditions in our country and in China and throughout the world. So make sure to follow for more.